Hey YouTube, I wanted to do a video more aimed at people getting into the hobby. Stuff that I wish I was told to think about when I first got into the hobby, and I'm sure many experienced hobbyists will agree. You know, if you were told certain things, you wouldn't have 50,000 tanks and be obsessed at such a level with this hobby. So I'll start off with the first and most important part of fish keeping. What's the most important thing to do with keeping fish? Some people will say filtration, some will say research, some will say water parameters. That's all vitally important, but the most important part is you need to enjoy your hobby. You need to enjoy your fish. You don't enjoy your fish, you won't find the time for your fish or your tank. And if you don't find the time, you're not going to do the water changes and the tank maintenance, changing filters over and that sort of thing needed. And very quickly, that box in your room or wherever you keep it, your acrylic tank, glass tank, is going to turn into a stinky, slimy nightmare that you're just not going to be able to deal with. So make sure you enjoy it. A good way to make sure you enjoy it is the next step. What do you want from your tank or your fish? What do you want from it? Now, do you want? It's endless what you can do with a fish tank. That's the beauty of this hobby. You can do so much with this hobby. You can do just about anything. Do you want some large fish? Do you want some small fish? Do you want a community of fish? Do you want species only tank breeding? Do you want to keep one fish? It's endless what you can do. So now you know what you want to do. Tank size. So you want to put it in your front room. You can fit a 2-foot tank, but you can also fit a 4-foot tank. In my opinion, get the 4-foot tank. A lot of people on YouTube, you can see they've upgraded, started off small, worked their way up. And you look on the eBays, places like that, a lot of the second-hand tanks are for sale, are small tanks, and in the description it will say upgrading. You know, after a year of having a small tank, you're soon going to wish, if you could have put a bigger tank in there, that you put it in there. So, and the modern misconception is that a small tank is easier to look after. It's the opposite. A larger tank is easier to look after. If things go wrong with your water parameters and everything else, it's easier and it takes longer to go wrong in a bigger tank than it will a small tank. So, you know the size tank you want, you know what you want from it. The next step is the cost. The initial outlay is going to be quite expensive, depending on what you want to do. If you want to do a DIY project, it's not going to be as expensive, but it's still going to cost you a fair amount of money. You want a really nice cabinet, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So that's the initial outlay. But a lot of people don't look into the running costs. I've got 3 tanks set up at the moment, and I'm using 1,000 watts of electricity at any given moment. 24/7, 365 days of the year, I've got over 1,000 watts running to keep my fish tanks up and running with the lighting, the filters, the heaters and everything else. So that's just one part of the cost. The next cost is food. Now, depending on what you plan to keep, some small tanks, small species, very cheap, very affordable to feed. My fish cost me about £15 a week. I mean, unless I don't see anything that I want to give them as a treat, if there's not something that I find in the frozen section at Tesco's, I think, oh, that would be nice this week. But I'm looking at about £15 a week in food. You know, but as I said, it depends on what you want and the fish and the size. But you've also got your water conditioners and medicines and things like that. It costs money. It's not something you buy, stick in the corner of your room and that's it. It will cost money. So are you prepared to meet the cost? It's not that high normally, you know, and you can make it suit it to your budget. But it's something you need to think about. So you've got your tank size, and you know how much it's going to cost to run it, you know what chemicals you're going to need. The next thing is filtration. Now, the filters out there, you can pay a lot of money or little money. There's internal filters, external filters, you can do a sump. There's a whole range of stuff you can do. All this filter does is allow you to grow beneficial bacteria. This beneficial bacteria will eat the nasties in your water. Your fish will shit and they will eat food and leave bits here and bits there, and that will pollute your water with things like ammonia and other nasties. Beneficial bacteria is what filtration is about. That is what you're trying to achieve, is a colony of beneficial bacteria inside your chosen type of filtration. Internal, external and sump. There's a few different ways. So there's ways of achieving this. I'm not going to go into detail about that in this video. There's arguments for and against different methods. Many people will say cycle your tank. Now, cycling is growing your beneficial bacteria. This is one of the most important steps, and that's your life support. That is your lifeline to your aquarium. But I'm not going to go into too much detail. So you can do a fishless cycle, whereas you would add certain chemicals or items to the water to grow your bacteria over a period of time. Or a lot of people, myself included, will stick fish in a tank with some there's some new products out there and things like that allow you to jump start that process. But that's something for you to research for yourself and look into. But a vital component to your aquarium and your hobby. Without that beneficial bacteria, you're in trouble. So you've got all that down. We know that we need to enjoy it. It can become a nightmare to do. We know what we want from it. We know that we want a community, a big fish, small fish, aquascapes, whatever. You know, the size of the tank we can fit in the area we want to use. The field, you know, the cost, the running cost, the chemicals, the food, everything else is going to cost us money, and the electric. The filtration. We know what filtration we need. I'll mention that a good rule of thumb to start off with filtration when you buy a filter is to filter 10 times the volume of your aquarium. So if you have got a 100-litre aquarium, you want to be filtering 1,000 litres per hour, and you'll know what that means when you look at a box and read what a filter is all about and you look into it. So we're down to filtration. Now, once you've got all that sorted, now look at your species of fish. The reason I put this last on my list is it's very easy to say, go on YouTube and see, I don't know, a dovey or a arowana and think, oh yeah, I'm getting one of them. But you haven't got the room for it. And the worst case scenario, a lot of people will do it, especially when you're not experienced enough, will think, I can make that work in a 4-foot tank. You can't, and I'll tell you, it's going to end in tragedy and you're going to lose your fish and everything else. So that's just for them species, sorry. But once you've got everything in place, you know about your cost, running cost, the tank size, how to cycle your tank, how to get everything ready for your fish. Now look at your fish, because I can guarantee you, if you walk into your local pet shop, you're going to see a few of the more common fish, angelfish, some cichlids, Oscar, some plex and stuff. But you get online and you start researching, there is an endless list of fish out there that you can get to keep in your home aquarium. And it's amazing the different types and behaviour, and it's just, you can find anything you want. So now you've got your 4-foot tank, you look for a species of fish that will fit in a 4-foot tank. A species of fish you can afford to care for. If it needs to have a good frozen diet, you can do it. We've covered all of that. So now you're on your fish. So now you've got your fish in your tank. Well, sorry, before you put your fish in your tank, you know what you want, what fish. Research, research, research. YouTube is crammed full of information. Now you can read a care sheet on Wiki or something like that. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to one aspect. You can get a certain species of fish that you want to keep, and one person will have one experience, 10 people will have 10 different experiences. Research your fish. YouTube's great, the forums are great. You need to know what type of water the fish needs to go into, the hardness, the pH, and we live in a world now where there's so many products out there. You can change your tap water to match just about anything out there. So yeah, that's enough rambling. So just need to think about certain things. You know, this can be the easiest or the hardest thing. If you get it in order and you know what you're doing and you think about it and plan it, this could be the greatest thing in the world. As you can see, there's enough people like me on YouTube with several tanks and probably threatened with divorce about 50 times. But it is great. I love it. It is an amazing hobby, and there's some amazing fish that you can keep and enjoy. So yeah, if you follow them steps, that's the basic stuff. There's more in-depth stuff, but you'll come along that as you go. But yeah, so that's just my tips, things I wish I'd looked at before I went out and bought my first fish and put it in a small tank and realised very quickly, shit, I'm in trouble, this ain't going to work out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Check out my channel. I've got loads of videos on my different species. I keep cichlids, catfish, Oscar. I've got loads of fish. Check out my channel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.